Now let's talk about the Taiwan Straits. The tension continues to spiral there. Taiwan now says China is preparing for an invasion. Listen to what their foreign minister said.
China has used the drills in its military playbook to prepare for the invasion of Taiwan. It is conducting large-scale military exercises and missile launches, as well as cyber attacks, disinformation campaign, and economic coercion in an attempt to weaken public morale in Taiwan.
Last week, Taiwan was celebrating a diplomatic victory, but now it must fend off a military threat from China. The PLA, the People's Liberation Army, has surrounded Taiwan. It has launched what experts call a pressure campaign. It has sent a large number of military assets to the Taiwan Straits. The Chinese drills began last week. Since then, more than 200 military aircraft and over 50 warships have been spotted around Taiwan. Yesterday alone, Taiwan detected the presence of 39 Chinese warships and 13 naval vessels. This is happening every day now. Chinese warplanes enter the Taiwan airspace, or the airspace near Taiwan. They simulate attacks on the islands. They conduct drills near Taiwan, and they fire missiles.
In terms of the range of its missile tests, China is clearly trying to deter other countries from interfering in its attempt to invade Taiwan. Its rehearsal of anti-access and area denial, or A2AD, tactics gives us a clear image of China's geostrategic ambition beyond Taiwan. In other words, China's real intention behind these military exercises is to alter the status quo in the Taiwan Strait and the entire region.
Apart from the military moves, Taipei has also reported cyber attacks and a disinformation campaign. This is a full-blown escalation, and China is using Nancy Pelosi's visit as an excuse for its actions. It ordered a range of targeted military operations. They were supposed to end in 4 days. Today is day 6. There is no end in sight. Is China really preparing for an invasion? The US says it is, not immediately, but in the next 2 years. Listen to this.
After Speaker Pelosi's trip and China's reaction, do you still believe China will not militarily seize Taiwan in the next few years?
The crisis, across the strait is essentially a manufactured one by Beijing. Speaker Pelosi's visit is not the first time that a Speaker of the United States House of Representatives has traveled to Taiwan. Certainly, congressmen and women from the United States regularly go to Taiwan. Nothing about the visit changed one iota of the U.S. government's policy toward Taiwan or towards China. So really, China's reaction was completely unnecessary. And all I'll say is we're not going to take the bait, and it's not going to work. What we'll do instead is to continue to fly, to sail, and to operate wherever international law allows us to do so, and that includes in the Taiwan Strait.
So Idris didn't ask whether it was a manufactured crisis by China. He asked whether there was a new assessment as to whether China would take Taiwan militarily in 2 years. What's the answer to that?
No.
So that is the American assessment. A Chinese invasion of Taiwan by 2024. The US is doing its best to paint China as the aggressor, and it is. But the US too had a role to play. It knew how Beijing would react to Nancy Pelosi's visit. She was the highest-ranking US official to visit Taiwan in 25 years. Pelosi might consider it as an achievement, but China saw it as an affront to its sovereignty. It's a different matter that China does not think twice before violating the sovereignty of others. But it has taken exception to this visit and has issued yet another warning.
The current tension in the Taiwan Strait is caused by the Democratic Progressive Party authorities' constant attempt to seek independence in collusion with external forces, their refusal to recognize the One China principle, and their intentions to change the status quo that both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to the same China. We warn the Taiwan authorities that any attempt to go against the tide of history and resist unification by force will be firmly rejected by the entire Chinese people and is doomed to failure.
Strong words there. But what does Beijing really plan to do? Its mouthpieces have some insight. The Chinese state broadcaster CCTV recently ran an interview of Meng Xiangqing. He's a professor at the National Defense University in Beijing. This is China's top military academy. According to Meng, the PLA has specific objectives for these drills. It wants to quote-unquote completely smash the so-called median line. The median line is the unofficial border between China and Taiwan. It separates Taiwan from China. Beijing wants to make this median line irrelevant. End the border. And that's not all. The PLA is also demonstrating its ability to blockade Taiwan. It's trying to control the Bashi Channel. Now, this is an important sea link. Some experts believe it is the only way to enter and exit the South China Sea. How does the blockade help China? It can cut off Taiwan's access to valuable imports. It can also stop military aid from coming in. Nancy Pelosi's visit has left Taiwan vulnerable. The military threat from China is growing by the day. Taiwan has no option but to prepare for war. It began its own military exercises today. Taipei conducted live fire artillery drills. They practiced defense maneuvers and how they're going to defend Taiwan if China invades. Taiwan said these drills were scheduled earlier and that they're not a reaction to the Chinese moves. But almost immediately, Beijing shot back. The PLA statement said that the Chinese military will continue its drills around Taiwan. So clearly, Beijing is not backing down. The situation is precarious. One misfire can start a war. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.